so. Okay. All right, so I think I've used both of these knives long enough to make a decision on the differences of both steels. So this is CPM 3V and this is ADCR V2. This is the knife I use for both of the cuts in the beginning of the video. I'll just talk a little bit about some of the differences and just in how I made them. I handmade both of these and I try to get them as close as possible, but there is like two main differences, and it had to do mostly with just the stock I used to begin with. So the CPM 3V version is a little bit thicker than the ADCR V2 version by a little bit. This guy is 1/8 of an inch, like exactly, and CPM 3V this one is slightly thicker. Also, this knife is also slightly wider than the ADCR V2 version, but just by a little bit. So yeah. And then besides that, they're pretty comparable. The handle materials are different. I don't think that really matters. This is micarta. This is bullock wood from Australia. And they're both professionally heat treated by Peters Heat Treatment. This guy is done to 60 Rockwell hardness. This one is done to 58 to 60 Rockwell hardness, which is, both of these are like, they're heat treated at their ideal point, basically, at Rockwell hardness. Both cryogenically treated also. So the whole point of this was to see if you got two comparable knives with comparable heat treatment at both steels, how would these compare? So, all right, so I'll just talk about the positives, I guess, or the things that they have in common. All right, the main thing that both these steels have in common is how tough they are. So I didn't take these knives to any extreme. I didn't, like, you know, try to cut cinder blocks with it or nothing like that. I just used both these knives in like my day-to-day work for a few months each, a couple months each. And at work, so I chop branches, dead branches, I do landscaping. So just whatever comes up, I would use these knives for it. And to tell the truth, and it's probably because I didn't take it, you know, to extremes, I don't really see much of a difference between these two in terms of toughness. And what I mean by that is not just its ability to not break when bent, because I didn't do that to these, but in its ability to keep its shape, especially at the edge. So I brought both these down to a very keen edge specifically for this reason, to see what happens. And after like chopping stuff with it, I didn't get, even though it's like very thin, I didn't get any warpage, any chips, any problems with the edge, both of these. So in that sort of sense, I don't really find much of a difference. That's just like toughness though. Okay, so, all right, so the second difference is edge retention. CPM 3V is noticeably better at keeping an edge than ADCR V2. I had to sharpen ADCR V2 like more than twice as much as CPM 3V just from use. And this may sound obvious, but how I would notice, you know, the things I would do that I would notice the difference is after using it for a time and then trying to draw cut on something like a plastic bag or a piece of rope. So in terms of chopping, it's hard to notice the difference because the geometry is what's doing the chopping. It's still applying a lot of that force to a point or whatever. You would notice it more for draw cuts. So it isn't so bad. So the edge doesn't go like, this doesn't lose an edge so quickly that you don't do like the job you need to do. It's not like a detrimental quickness of losing an edge. I don't know how to say that exactly better, but it is a lot more noticeable than CPM 3V, and I've been using other knives too. Maybe that's why it's like such a difference for me. I've been using like Vanix and MagnaCut and LC200 and even so compared to those steels, yeah. So, and then also this is the part where it gets kind of gray in which is like, is that a bad thing or a good thing? And what I mean by that is, so CPM 3V is also more wear resistant. So you need harder things to get this back to an edge again, as opposed to 80 CRV2, which you can bring back the edge like using a rock or concrete or something like that. You can use a lot of things to bring back an edge on CPM, on 80 CRV2. So it's a plus on what, depending on what you need. So like one example I can think of, I guess, is like if you have like a prep bag, or I don't know what those things are called, EDC bag or whatever, it would make more sense to have a 80 CRV2 version of a knife that you can sharpen with whatever you want in the field, bring it back to an edge, and you don't have to depend on special tools to constantly keep a knife serviceable, basically. So there's that. All right, so third is corrosion resistance, and this is a big one too, big difference. CPM 3V is not stainless, but it is slightly stainless. From my experience, I can cut whatever, chop whatever, and all I do is I'll wipe the blade on my pant leg and I'll put it back in the sheath, and I'm fine. I'll be okay. I cannot do that with 80 CRV2. I tried that, so I cut that same plant that I cut in the beginning of the video. I wiped it on my pant leg and put it in the sheath, and then later on, like the end of the day, I saw this. But this was like way worse. These were like rust spots. So 80 CRV2 rusts like very, very readily. I don't know if the difference is such an impact to me, because it could be because I came from using recently Magna Cut, LC Turner and Vanex for work, and I jumped to using basically this. So CPM 3V and this. I'm used to CPM 3V, but it is surprising how easy this rusts. But here's another thing. So another caveat or whatever. Once this patina is over, I have tools that like machetes and axes and stuff like that I have some that are handmade in Mexico. And those have gotten a very, very nice patina just from like usage and just years and years of just having it, taking care of it. And once you get a patina on the whole thing, the rust resistance on it jumps way high up. But from then till now, from now till then, I do have to basically maintenance this knife a lot more. I have to oil it, watch, try to clean it whenever I cut things as much as I can, stuff like that. So I have to baby it more than I would the other knives I have, which is not a pain, but it is a difference. So that here's the other gray area. That can be a plus or a minus. So far, it's been a plus to me. I do like how things patina. I like things that change, that age, that not in a negative way, but just like in an appearance. Like there's some woods that with the sun they'll change color. There's this one included too. So I do like how this is changing with just use. It is like a little bit more, I don't want to say pretty, but yeah, it's a little bit more pretty. Once I'm looking forward to seeing how this looks in the end, when this is all just completely patinaed. And yeah, it adds like a sentimental value to it too, in my opinion, just because when you do look at it, that's all just you, basically. It's usage from you, and when it's done, it adds memories to it, basically, to an object. So there's another thing that's kind of, it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, depending on whether you're willing to put the time into it and how do you see it, from what angle. All right. Okay, final thoughts. So which one of these would I choose? CPM 3V overall is just a better steel, but I'm actually going to choose this one. I'm going to wear this one from now on. And the reason for that is I like that it changes. I like that it gets patina. I've tried to patina CPM 3V before. I had a halberd that I tried to patina with mustard, and it did get some patina on it, but it comes off like super easy. It doesn't with ADCR-V2. So I like the idea of having a knife that, so I changed it by making it, and then now I'm going to change it by using it. I don't know. It's just appealing to me, that thought. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this looks once it's completely covered in patina. And patina is a form of, it's a form of controlled corrosion. So it's going to reflect, once it gets there, it's going to reflect not just what I use the knife on and just usage, but it's also going to reflect the amount of maintenance I did on it too, which is, like I said, a very appealing thought to me. Every now and then I'll take this out to the sun and you can see the patina a lot better. And yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, like always, any questions or suggestions, let me know. All right, bye.